Welcome to 8.1 average value of a function, accumulation of rate of change functions. Discovering the formula for the average value of a function, our goal is to try and kind of imagine from here to here, what kind of height is the average. So specifically average value means heights. What's the average height? So let's draw a horizontal segment from A to B in the figure at right, which could represent the average height of the function on that interval. If I drew a straight line here, that would be too high. If I drew a straight line here, that would be too low. So somewhere in the middle, right? Reminds me of, using the midpoint for a Riemann sum. There you go. I've got a little bit that's too high. I've got a little bit that's too low. It seems like it's like this part segment is kind of like mirrored over here. So when I'm this high, I would also be that low. And so the average seems like it should be like right there. Okay. Find the area of this rectangle. The rectangle that we're thinking about is this rectangle. This is the width from A to B, meaning, if this was 10 and this was 3, then the width would be 10 minus 3 equals 7. So I just put in real numbers up there so you could see why I'm going to subtract. So B minus A, right? The big number minus the little number gives me the difference between them. And then the height, whatever this is the height. And there. So the average value, he wants me to say to you that the area of this rectangle should be equal to the area under the curve. So the area of the rectangle is equal to the area under the curve. From A to B. I'm going to actually write that word out, to B. There you go. Because, right, we were saying that if we find the area of this whole thing, then we've got this little bit too high takes care of that little bit too low, okay? So that's the area under the curve. And then we're just bringing down the B minus A and the height. And he says, let's solve for the height. So I'm, dividing by B minus A. I'm dividing by B minus A. And so what we have is this. Okay, so we have that. And we're going to go ahead and call that height the average height. The average height. So we actually have like a formula then. The average height. And the area of the region, the width of the region, boom, we move a hidden invisible 1 over B minus A out in front. And then we just, calculate the area under the curve. And we've got that, 1 minus B over A there to calculate my average, And if you think about it, what we're actually doing here is the difference from B to A. Again, if I had a 10 over here and I had a 3 over here, it would be 7. I'm basically taking this whole curve, all of this area that I can calculate with my integral, and I'm dividing it up into as many pieces as the difference between here. So in this case, if I really was going from 10 to 3, I would have broken it up into 7 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. which is taking the average of something. Remember, how do you actually take an average? Is you add all the numbers up and then you divide by the number of numbers. Well, there you go. So we are averaging everything up. We know how to find the area under a curve, and then we're dividing it into the pieces, and that helps us get an average height, like the Riemann sums. Okay, so now let's actually do a problem, and we're saying we want to find the average value on the interval from 0 to 2, which means I'm calculating this little bit and this little bit. And remember, I don't have to worry about the negative right here. This is not a problem. No problems there. That's calculated when I do the integral. So the f average is going to be equal to 1 over b minus a, where that's a and that's b. So 2 minus 0 times the integral. And this is, by the way, this is times. I just want to make sure that that is times. That is times. Okay. The integral from 0 to 2 of x cubed minus x dx. And so we want to do this integral. So 1 over 2 minus 0 is just 1/2, and the integral of x cubed is x to the 4th over 4 minus x squared over 2. And we're not doing a plus c here because we're going to evaluate this on these two numbers. And so I have this is equal to 1/2, and here we go. I have something, which is something to the 4th power over 4 minus something squared over 2, and minus something. This is my f of b minus f of a. So the average value, another version of that, could be 1 over b minus a times f of b minus f of a, if what I was starting out with was the derivative of something, right? If I was starting out with the derivative of something. So since every function is the derivative of another, function, this can easily be a derivative. And so I'm just using that f of b minus f of a business on it to evaluate it. All right, so here's my 4, there's my 4, there's my square, there's my 2, and boom. Then let's actually do this. We're going to put in the 2, and the 2, and the 0, and the 0, and now we know this particle disappears. Just wrote it out to confirm that, right? And then in here, I have 1/2 times 2 to the 4th is 16 divided by 2. 2 squared is 4 divided by 2. And so I have 1/2 times 8 minus 2, which is 1/2 times 6, which is 3. Oh, sorry, by 4. My bad. By 4. I knew my numbers were off just a little bit. Fixing it right now. 4 minus 2 is 2, and 1/2 of 2 is 1. Sorry. Use your calculator to find the value of c in that interval where f of c equals the average value found in example 4. So we're using the mean value theorem, like we're trying to talk about that f of c value, and he's just saying we just want that average value. That average value was technically 1. I don't know why I don't have a pen here. Hold on. There you go. Now I got a pen. F of c equals 1. So we have the function x cubed minus x, and we just set that equal to 1. Now I did a solve. Okay, so hold on a second. Yeah, I did a solve. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. So x cubed minus x equals 1, comma x. I got 1.324. So x equals 1.324. And oh, whoops, right here. Do this, right? Solve. Okay, so use solve. X cubed minus x comma, I'm sorry, that equals 1 comma x, and then you get that x equals 1 point, what was it again, 324? Yeah, and I'm cutting it off right there. I'm not gonna round. 1324. No reason to round. Okay. So then, flippy, we go to accumulation of rate functions. In lesson 4.1, we interpreted rate function models. We can now revisit that topic and include the concept of accumulation. So I've got this graph right here where I've got time in hours after midnight going that way. I've got the rate of rainfall, meaning how much rain is falling. And that's this axis right here. And they're calling that R of t. It's a function of time. So it's doing it from midnight until 6 a.m. with this being midnight and that being 6 a.m. I got my tropical rainstorm, very exciting. Write a complete sentence to explain what point A is on that graph, include numbers and units in my answer to this example and examples 8, 10, and 12. So this moment in time is 3 a.m. and it looks like there's 1 inch of rain falling. And that's literally the sentence that I write. So at 3 a.m. rain is falling at the rate of 1 inch per hour. Okay? And then number 7 says, what is the slope of the graph between points B right here and C? And I just want to mention that even though there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes here, that's not a height of 5. What's my height? Again, my height is 1. We figured it out at A. It is still 1 at B. So I'm technically just going down 1, and then I'm going over 1. So this is a -1 over 1, and that's the units are going to be, remember, we do y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 for a slope, right? Well, this slope, the whole y business is going to be inch per hour, and the whole x business is going to be hour. So you know, I really like the way Mr. Taylor writes this. Ready? He says m is equal to -1, and I just think this is pretty. Inches per hour per hour. Doesn't that look nice? But you can write it like this too. That's fine. Okay, so write a complete sentence to explain the meaning of your answer to example 7. So we say between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. because that's what we're doing. We're going from here to here. The rate of the rainfall now this is interesting because I'm just another sentence. I had a problem when I was recording, so I'm having to make this video twice. And the first time I did this, I meant to stop before I actually wrote this part of the sentence and say to you, here I had 1 inch per, at that time, there was 1 inch of rain falling. Here, there's 0 rain falling, so there's no rainfall, no rain. And so I would write my sentence that it's, that we're calculating the slope is that it's decreasing from 1 down to 0. Get it? From 1 down to 0, which means it's like 1. How do I get from 1 down to 0? I subtracted 1, right? So anyway, the rate of the rainfall is decreasing at a rate of 1 inch per hour per hour. So pretty. I love that. Okay, so now I'm looking at this and I'm just saying this is just a straight area problem. We're expecting these anytime we've got, something that has the two limits and then there some sort of graph which clearly has some sort of geometric shape. We should be able to calculate this. Now, I would definitely consider this some sort of trapezoid. I mean, it is also a square with a triangle. So if you want to do it, sorry, not square. Well, actually, no, this is a square because this is the height of 1, right? Yeah, and that's a width of 1. So that's a 1 by 1 square. And So that's 1. What's this? This is a height of 1, and that's a height of 1, and I'm taking a half because it's a triangle. So that's 1 plus 1/2. That's going to be 3/2, or just 1.5. And let's do inches. So that's interesting. We need to know what it was we just found, but I also wanted to mention I was doing it as a trapezoid a moment ago when I did it the first time. I said this was my first base, right? My base 1. That's a width of 1. This is my second base. Going from 3 to 5, that second base has a width of 2, and then this height was 1. If I'm doing the trapezoidal method, I have that 1/2 times the height. Well, the height was 1, right, from here up to 1, and then the two bases being added together, so 1 plus a 2. And when I calculate this, I get 1/2 times 1 is a half, and 1 plus 2 is 3, and so I still end up with 3/2. Anyway, however you want to calculate it, go for it. It's totally fine by me. Write a sentence, though, to explain what we did. We looked at 3 a.m., so between, and then we looked at 5 a.m., and we did the area under the curve, which should be how much rain is falling altogether. Because, we're saying that 1 inch was falling here, 1 inch was, and we're going to add up all of the inches that, would have happened. Now, notice in an hour, an inch of rain fell because we're going in inches per hour. Okay, so this actually makes sense, I think. Anyway, so between 3 and 5 a.m., once we add in this 1 and then we add in this 1/2, we should get 3/2. A total of 3/2 inches fell. Inches of rain. Okay. So then we go to looking at the whole thing then from 0 to 6. So I'm not just doing 3 to 5. And he says we can use some geometrical regions. We're doing an approximation, so let's put a little approximation symbol there, okay? That the area there is going to be approximately equal to. And the reason I was mentioning that trapezoid rule is because this would be a great trapezoid to do. I would be happy to call this a trapezoid, where again, I have a base, and that first base is 1, and then I have another base, and this base is a 5, and I'm still working with that 1/2, and the height was 1, and then I do the 5 plus the 1, and I end up saying that I have 1/2, and this is going to be 6, and that's going to be an area of 3 inches. Oh, why did you say inches? Well, because my complete sentence would be between midnight and 6 a.m., a total of 3 inches of rain fell. Okay? And I think, is that it? Yeah, that's it. Enjoy the homework.